Welcome back. We are continuing our study of factoring. Today we're going to use what we learned yesterday about pulling out greatest common factors and factor by grouping. These are the steps for factoring by grouping. If you would pause the video and jot these down. Really what we're looking at is taking out common factors and writing leftovers twice. We can only factor by grouping if we have 4 terms. That's important to note. We're factoring by grouping if we have 4 terms. I'm looking at this first set of examples. Letter A. Standard form, third power, second power, first power, no power. Yep. So I'm going to split this in half. On the left side, I'm only looking at x to the third and 5x squared. We have the 1 there. Our greatest common factor of the numbers between 1 and 5 is 1. We can write it. We don't have to write it. It's your comfort level. And then x to the third and x squared. Well, we can take out 2 x's from each of those. So we're dividing by x squared or 1x squared. That's our greatest common factor. Inside, we write what's left over. X to the third over x squared. 3 minus 2 is 1. So 1x to the first. Plus 5 divided by 1 is 5. X squared over x squared, 2 minus 2 is 0. So the x squared is gone. On the right side, and this is very, 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 very important, whatever sign is here. If it's a minus, you write a minus. If it's a plus, you write a plus. But that's what I'm going to take down as the start on that right side. I look at the 4x and the 20. And they don't both have x's, so I can't pull out x, but 4 and 20 have a common factor of 4. And remember, we pulled down this minus here, so we're actually taking out a negative 4. Negative 4x divided by negative 4, so that's a positive 1, and we still have that x. Negative 20 divided by negative 4 is positive 5. When we get to this point, so this was step 3, these things inside the parentheses must always match. If they don't match, we need to go back and see if we've made a math error or we're not able to continue and actually factor. So x plus 5 and x plus 5 match exactly, and this is step 4 now. We have a new greatest common factor. Both sides of our wall here, this is our wall, have an x plus 5. So x plus 5 is my new greatest common factor. And then our leftovers, that's going in their own separate parenthesis, are x squared minus 4. And we write them from left to right, just like we read. This is factored form. It's not completely finished yet. We'll learn more about that later, but for right now, this is as far as we're going. Let's take a look at letter B. Is our polynomial in standard form? 4, 3, 1, nothing. Yes, it's in order from greatest to least. So we're splitting this in half. And right now, focusing on this left side, x to the fourth and x to the third. We don't have any numbers there for greatest common factor, but we know we can always pull out 1. For our variables, our smaller exponent is x to the third. So we're going to divide both of these by x to the third as our common factor. 4 minus 3 is x to the first. we have this plus sign. Now here's where it might get a little bit tricky for us. Remember, there's a 1 here and a 1 here. 3 minus 3 is 0, so the x's reduce out. But remember, this is a fraction technically, and if I divide anything by itself, we get a 1. Or if I write the 1's there, I know 1 divided by 1 is 1. So that's my left side. On my right side, remember we said vitally important. Whatever this sign is immediately on the right side of our wall is what we're writing down. And our greatest common factor here is 1. Factoring by grouping, you always have to pull something out in this spot. You always do, even if it's a 1. And so we're going to go ahead and pull that 1 out now. X to the first divided by 1 is x, plus 1 divided by 1 is 1. Are my parentheses exactly identical? They are. That's good. That means we're on the right track. That also means that our new greatest common factor is that x plus 1. And then in its own set of parentheses, the leftovers from left to right, we have x to the third plus 1. And there's our factoring. Letter C, checking for standard form. Do we have standard form? We do. Third power, second power, first power, no power. Split it in half. Our common factor over here on the left side, we have a 1 and a 3, so that common factor is just 1. X to the third and x squared. X squared is our smaller exponent, so 1x squared, you can write the 1 or not, is our greatest common factor. Dividing by that, we have x to the third over x squared. 3 minus 2 is 1, plus 3 divided by 1 is 3. X squared over x squared simplifies out. On the right side of our wall, we have a plus sign, so we're bringing that down. Our common factor between 3x and 9. 3 and 9 have a common factor of 3. They both don't have an x, so I can't pull out that variable. Our GCF is 3 then. 3 divided by 3 is 1x, plus 9 divided by 3 is 3. Checking our parentheses of our leftovers, they are exactly identical. That also means that our common factor for our new set is x plus 3. Our leftovers are x squared plus 3. And that is factored form. Letter D. Third power, second power, first power, no variable. So this is in standard form. Go ahead and split that in half. On our left side, our greatest common factor between 1 and 2 is 1. X to the third and x squared. X squared is our smaller exponent, so that's going to be our common factor. Remember, you can write the 1 in front of the x squared or not. That's your choice. Our leftovers, third power minus second power is first power. We are subtracting. 2 divided by 1 is 2, and x squares reduce out. On the right side of our wall is a minus sign, so that's what we're starting with down here. Our common factor between 9x and 18 is 9. We cannot pull out the x because the 18 does not have one. So we're taking out a negative 9. Negative 9 over negative 9 is a positive 1 with that x. Positive 18 divided by negative 9 is negative 2. Our leftovers, are both matching. They're both x minus 2. That's our new greatest common factor. And then our leftovers, once we pull that out, are x squared minus 9. And that's our factored form for now. If you would please try the U-tries 1 and 2, that'll be good. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great rest of your day.